All right, golf addicts, DB here with another banger interview and banger guest. It's none other than Homeless Hub's Mark Hubbard, one of the funniest guys in professional golf, I think. Mark, thanks for joining. We appreciate the time, buddy.
Hell yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me.
All right, so I got a challenge in front of me, Mark, because you've done some podcasts, some big podcasts. You're a pretty outspoken guy. You're funny on Twitter. You're just funny anytime they put the mic on you on the PGA Tour. You're kind of an open book. So like I always try to talk to you guys and get something out of you that you've not already said on another show, right? There might be a couple things in this interview that you repeat, but I'm going to try to keep it a little different and get stuff out of Mark Hubbard that we've not gotten before. That's
All
my
right,
goal.
perfect. Yeah. Anything you want to know.
First question. It's a tough one. Biggest example of pissing away hundreds of millions of dollars. The Broncos paying Russell Wilson and Coach Hackett, or Liv paying Phil Mickelson. You got to pick one.
Oh, man. It's tough for me to not say the Broncos right now. Mostly just, I guess it's all relative. I think as much as the Broncos owner has with his Walmart connections, I think the Prince has a little more money. So, relatively speaking.
Crazy. Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, I think the amount of money we spent just not on those two, re-signing Melvin Gordon to a year, and then, now we got Latavius Murray and Gordon's on the bench. Like we've made so many moves over the offseason, our front office has, and it seems like the way we're playing football is not really congruent with those moves. Even the first game of the year, you pay Russ all that money and then you don't trust him to get 5 yards. It's just
Yeah.
kind of like money. So it seems like the team that was built in the front office is not necessarily the team on the field, and certainly not the one that Hackett is coaching. So
Yeah. I know it's disappointing for you, but hang in there. It's still early,
yeah, I
It's
mean,
still early.
it's rough. Yeah,
Also,
the Chargers are like my nemesis. So last week's game, it's gonna take me a while to get over that one.
all right. So we don't have the kind of pockets the Broncos or obviously Liv have, but I am interested, and I know you've been asked this before, but I want to, I'm curious, like the dry erase thing on your bag. What does it take for us to get, for us to get a message on there for any tournament? We'll even take, we don't care the tournament. Like what does it take?
Well, right now, just ask. It doesn't
Okay.
take much. I will say do it sooner rather than later because Local IQ is getting me a new bag. I'm not
Mm.
sure when, but soon with my actual name on it. It's actually gonna be sweet. They had this kind of like street artist guy come in and design them, and it's all Colorado themed. So I think it's got Red Rocks on there and a bunch
Oh,
of Broncos
nice.
stuff. It's gonna be awesome. But I will have my name on it for the first time since the Canadian Open last year. So it's exciting. So yeah, the clock's ticking, but you're
Oh,
definitely welcome.
okay, well, maybe those listening or watching this can drop in the comments on YouTube, or you can tweet at us or something. What should we have Mark write on the dry erase, sheet of paper if we can get it there on time? So
Yeah, I mean, my guess is that I won't get it in time for these next two, which are Bermuda and Mexico. So maybe let's
mm,
just plan on doing something for Mayakoba.
okay, Mike Hova. I would love to like my first like gut instinct is, we're friends with Kevin Kisner, but Kisner's an asshole. So like I would love to put Kisner's phone number on your bag and just be like, call Kevin. But yeah, I know you would do that. Okay. um, I heard that you're like a really amazing, I think you said it yourself. You're a really good topper of the golf ball. Like
Oof.
if you were to rank, because I know a lot of you guys, man. I had a buddy that played college golf, and I caddied for him one time, and he didn't take golf very seriously. He could have been really good, but I caddied for him at a college tournament, and he walked up and he hit three balls on the range. He walked straight up to the range with his driver, topped all three of them on purpose, and then he stripes one like 305. This was back in like 2001,
I'm
and
ready.
then goes to the first tee. And so I know like all you guys are good at this, right? But if you were to rank yourself like if there was a world golf rankings of being able to hit the coldest, filthiest top with a driver, where would you rank yourself?
I mean, I gotta be top five.
Top
I'm
five?
not sure. I'm not sure where, but yeah, I think on pure amounts of practice, the amount of time I'm messing around on the range when I should be practicing, that's got to put me in the top five. I've never been a range rat, and yeah, we just messed around so much in college.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of other shots I need to master. I know a lot of people that can cold shank it on command. I haven't figured that one out yet. I can do, but I'm
You
not sure
you
if I want to figure that one out.
yeah, I
But
heard
yeah,
that,
cold
that
topping,
Carl have you seen that Carl Yuan guy that just came out of the Korn Ferry Tour? Apparently, he does that on purpose. Have you seen that?
shanks.
Yeah, but, like, it's part of his this is what I
Yeah,
just heard. It's, like, part of his like, regimen.
totally. Yeah, I mean, he's a different cat. He does a lot of different things in his game, but you know, his uniqueness is what makes him good. I don't know. I I actually think that being able to top the ball is an actual, you know, benefit because you know where the bottom of your swing is. If you know where the bottom of your swing is, better. So, um, you know, in that regard, maybe he has the same thing in terms of toe and heel on the club, so he knows where the
Mm,
center is that way. So theoretically, I could see it.
okay. If I wanna go learn how to do that, what are some tips? Can you help me, like, basics to doing that?
Shank or top?
The top.
So Tiger actually used to talk about this with his fairway bunker play, but just kind of feeling like you're pulling your chin up a little bit right at impact. And so I think about that kind of through the ball, whereas normally, you know, when you're driving down, you kind of want your head a little
Mhm.
lower. So right at impact, I'm kind of giving it one of these, just
Mm.
subtle.
Dude, I can't wait to go try that. I've got
Yeah,
him mad, haven't I?
I had dinner with Sam Saunders in Japan last week. He was doing the coverage out there, and I don't remember this, but he has a video of me topping one. I think in maybe Chile on the Corn Ferry Tour, and it literally doesn't move. Like it just falls off the tee. So I was like,
No.
I
Is
mean, that's
that
got to
good?
put me. Yeah, it's got to put me top five.
Can you after this is over, will you send me a video somehow? I would love to see that. So you've
Okay.
done it in a tournament?
I my best one. I've never done it like during competition, but my best one
Okay.
was at the U.S. Open. The only US Open I've ever qualified for at Winged Foot. We go off to play the back nine at Winged Foot, and I'm with Joel Damon and Kevin Streelman, and we get to the tee, and there's just randomly like 30 media people there, cameras set up, whatever. So maybe there was a marquee group going on after us, but we're like, what is going on? So I just look at my caddy. I'm like, watch this, and I go. It's probably like 220 yards. So I had like a four hybrid at the time for the open rough, and I just cold topped it. You can see the it was on camera on the Golf Channel, like whatever, live from the U.S. Open. You can see the camera just go. It's so awesome. I have that video. I'll send it to you. But the
That's
best, I mean, Streelman didn't know it was coming, and it just floored him. You can see him in the background as I'm teeing up number two, and he is just on his knees dying.
that's great. Joel was actually the one that texted me. He's like, get him to talk about his love for Russell Wilson." So he was really the
Oh, fuck.
inspiration behind the first question.
Dude,
Um,
I know all my agents and him, they're all, they're all Seattle guys, and the whole
yeah.
time during the off season, they're like, "Oh, just wait, you'll learn to
Yeah,
hate him." I'm
yeah,
like, "You guys shut up." And no, I'm like,
yeah. It's rough.
yeah,
All right, so our I would say our audience is a pretty educated audience in terms of like a lot of guys that are in terms of like what type of golfer they are, right? Because we're every single week we're breaking down the entire field from handicapping it and understanding stats and running models and all this kind of stuff, and we've been doing it for 7 years. So like our audience is pretty familiar with you and in terms of like your game. But I always like when I get you guys on to hear you describe yourself because sometimes what I find in some of these conversations is like the numbers can be misleading, right? And so something that we think that you is maybe a weakness or is something that you're probably working on or improving on is really not in your mind or you're this close or so anyway, I guess I'll just ask you to describe yourself as a golfer in terms of your strengths and your weaknesses out on the PGA tour.
it's funny. I actually just had this conversation with somebody. I think it was actually in Sanderson, in Jackson when I was playing well. But my old caddy Johan, who's just one of my buddies, he used to call me Broccoli
Okay.
because I was just pretty good at everything. And like broccoli, like whatever, it's good for you, it's not amazing, but man, if you put some, like, butter and lemon or some cheese
Yeah,
on it, or you add it
yeah.
to, like,
In the South, you
broccoli
just put
beach,
ranch
it's
dressing on it.
amazing. They're
Yeah,
perfect, there you go.
anything with ranch dressing. That's
Then it's
funny.
really good, but yeah, so he just said I did everything pretty good. There's
Yeah.
nothing that's, like, amazing. I will say, in the last, I don't know, probably 2, 3 years, I've turned what in college was probably my weakest part of my game into probably my strongest, which is my kind of approach shot,
Mhm.
my proximity to the hole. I think, based on my length, I'm obviously not one of the longer guys on tour. So I've kind of taken that as a challenge. Well, okay, then I need to be one of the best from 150 to 200, and I
Mhm.
think I've gotten myself there. I know through the first 3 rounds of Sanderson, I think I was gaining 9 shots in the field approach, which is crazy. So
Yeah, you gained
I think,
7.2 total that week, which
yeah,
is big.
yeah, and I mean a lot of that was out of the rough too, because I drove it like a complete dickhead, and I have been for a while. So I think that's become my strength. Putting and short game, I've always just kind of naturally had it. It's what I grew up on crazy mountain greens that had a ton of slope, and it's just kind of what I've always loved to do:
Mhm.
hit mega flop shots and hit crazy putts that break 10 feet, and so that's just kind of always been come naturally to me. And then obviously I got to get better off the tee. That's the area where it's really standing out, and I'm never going to be super long, but I can gain a few yards here or there, and I got to hit more fairways. So I mean, for me, as long as I just don't lose strokes off the tee, because
Mhm.
I know I'm going to gain them approach and around. That's kind of the area.
Yeah, I mean, based on I would have said the exact same thing if somebody would ask me about you. It's like, man, the long irons and mid irons, it seems like over the last year have really started peaking. Like, was there like a coaching change? Was there something that you picked up on, or was it just more focus on it that helped get you there?
Yeah, I think it's just more focus, more practice. I
Mm,
mean, if anything, uh, I think transitionally with my swing, in college, I played big draws, and now I play little fades, which I think is better for iron play, coming in higher and softer and just a little
yeah.
bit steeper angle of attack. So technically speaking, I think that's helped a lot. But yeah, more than anything, I practice them a lot, and I hit them a lot in competition because I I have a lot of mid irons and the greens where other guys are hitting wedges and 9 irons. So,
So
but
have
yeah, I
you
mean, if
been?
you look at,
Go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead. No,
I
I
was
was just
just
gonna say, I mean, if you look at any of my good tournaments or good years, I mean, even I say it's the last couple of years, but even the really good year I had on the Corn Ferry in 19, I think I led the tour in par three scoring, which
mm,
is pretty indicative of
yep.
200-yard shots. So.
Have you been tempted or done any of the stuff like to chase distance, whether it's I don't know, getting stronger, just fast speed training, any of that? Have you been tempted to do that? A lot of guys obviously have.
Yeah, not a ton. I mean, I'm working with a new trainer. I'm trying to get stronger, but more for kind of longevity of my career and
Mhm.
just little stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely hoping to gain yards, and I have with some equipment changes and some of that, I have gained distance. It's just everybody else has too. Um, but yeah, I mean, in terms of the speed, if I just look at it, like the difference between me. I don't feel like there's enough to gain to change my whole swing, because I'm not gonna be, super long anyways.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, I just got to hit more fairways at the end of the day. That's the problem now. It's not how short I am because I've actually gotten longer, and it has helped me because when I have missed the fairways, I can play out of the rough now because I have 7, 8 iron instead of 5 and 6.
Mm.
And I was able to do that at Sanderson. So I mean, I have gotten a little longer, but in terms of chasing it the rest of the time, I mean, if anything, I would think it would be more from a technical standpoint because really what it is I hit it too low off the tee. So if I could find something, I really like to and kind of finding that match where I then launch it off the tee is something that I'm I guess struggling with.
Mm.
So I
Gotcha.
don't know whether that's going to be a new ball or new equipment or what.
So obviously, I would have said too, like, great, you're just a great putter, and you have been really as long as I can look back and see. So, do you have like a favorite putting surface? Bent, Poa, Bermuda? Does it not matter to you because you're just going to be good on all of them?
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't, not to be, like, cocky or anything, it's just I grew up in Colorado, we had bent, so
Mhm.
that obviously is what's natural to me, and then I went to school in the Bay Area, and we had Poa annua, arguably the toughest
Yeah,
green, so, I mean, I've always felt comfortable, at Pebble and places like that where it gets bumpy just because I know how to deal with it, and then I live in Houston now, so we see the grainiest of grainy, Bermuda. So I feel like I've been the 3 places I've
yeah,
lived, are all 3 different grasses and arguably the most challenging of those 3 grasses. So, um, that kinda just lucked out.
yeah. As a good putter, like, I'm curious your thoughts on this, and you may not even really observe this or care or know, but, okay, think about, like, the worst putters out there on tour, okay? You don't name names, but if you think about those guys, like, what is there a certain surface, whether it's, like, just pure bent grass that's just gonna roll true or Bermuda or Poa that has a lot of, variance to it. Is there a surface that you think the worst putters kind of are able to, play closer to you being a good putter because of one surface or another? Do you know what I mean? Like, which surface could they
Yeah.
be best on?
Yeah, I mean, I think bent just because it is the most true, and you
Mhm.
can get it the purest. The thing about Poe is you can putt amazing on it, but it's gonna expose the a bad roll the easiest, because as soon as it gets, the ball
Mhm.
gets off its axis at all, it could go anyway. I mean, you could hit the same putt 3 times and have it go 3 different ways. Um, but bent, you can get away with a lot of bad strokes as long as the ball has momentum towards the hole. And then I think grain can definitely expose people, but that's more I feel like a green reading than
Yeah,
a pure strike of the ball. So
yeah.
yeah, I would say bent.
So when you look on the PGA Tour schedule and you think about your year, what are a couple of courses, a few courses that, and this is always an interesting question too, because talked to Tom Hoagie about this, and Hoagie's like, I love this course, but I've sucked on it and I don't know why. Like, so I would say, like, what courses do you look at and go, like, that is a place I know I could get that first PGA Tour win. Like, it just suits me, or I feel good about it, or whatever it is. Like, what are some of those courses?
Yeah, I mean, waste management's always been a good week for me. I love that atmosphere. I think just growing up playing team sports and not just golf, you kind of
Yeah.
enjoy the hostility there. And it's a good course for me. It's not overly long. The greens are pure. You got to hit good second shots. There's a lot of, just kind of 7, 8, 9 irons in there. And it's one that I don't think you can necessarily really overpower. So that's always been a good one for me. I love Travelers. Um, I've always loved it up there. Actually, when the Hubbards first came over to the States, they landed pretty close to there. There's a home that
Oh,
was in my
cool.
family since like 1776 or something crazy there.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's got like a flag outside that only has like 20 stars on it because of the colonies and a bunch of
Dang.
relatives buried there. So that's always been like a home event. Course is great. Again, not one you can super overpower.
Yeah.
So I was pretty pumped to see those two in the new elevated status
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Trying to think other ones that I've always had really good success. I mean, I've always felt like I could win AT&T just because I know those courses really well. I think that would be one that I would agree with Hoagie, where I feel like I should play well there every year, and I for whatever reason haven't. Maybe just too
Yep.
much going on with family and friends, or too high of expectations. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I should dominate those courses because of my experience.
And you got the vibes from the proposal on the 18th green, right?
Yeah,
What about
absolutely.
what about courses that you just don't like to play?
Torrey
Like, I mean,
Pines.
Torrey Pines, okay. That was easy.
It's super long, it's super
Yeah,
tough. You gotta play 2 courses,
yeah,
weather's always sketchy, and if you miss the fairway by a yard, you are basically chipping out with a sand wedge, and if you miss it by 20 yards, you're fine. So, that doesn't really play well into my hands. I think I've played there 4 out of 3 or 4 out of I don't know. I think my only cut made, I made like a 25 footer on 18 to make the cut on the number and then
mm,
shot like 75 on the weekend. So that's as much as I love that course, it's a great golf course just in terms of knowing my game. That's usually a skip for me.
Yeah.
just to get ready for the ones after that, Pebble and
Yeah.
Riv and Waste Management. I'm trying to think what else. Usually a skip. Arrows kicked my butt before, but it's close by. Houston, I'm gonna play. I don't love the golf course. I think it's actually probably the worst golf course we play, but I don't know if we can edit that out so I don't get in trouble.
I can.
Trying to get some Astros tickets from Jim Crane. Don't want to piss him off. So, um, but yeah, I mean, obviously it's just kind of that's one where they redesigned the course and basically just added 50 yards to every hole, which
Cool.
isn't my strength. So,
Yeah.
Bay Hill's up there for that too. I think,
I played Bay Hill
it's
back in the fall last year. That course is terrible.
but
It's
man,
just
do
so
I love the
yeah.
purse. Like
Yeah,
I
the first
just, I always want to skip it because again, I feel like I could go to Puerto Rico instead and win Puerto
yeah,
Rico. And it's like,
yeah,
what does more for me, a 30th place at Bay Hill or a win in Puerto Rico? So
yeah,
that's always a tough one in my schedule where I just don't know what to do because I feel like I should play Bay Hill, but my gut's telling me to go play Puerto Rico. So,
yeah. Um, all right, let's switch gears a little bit. This is, I only ask usually I only ask like a one live question, and you've already been pretty outspoken against live, so I have a couple of different ways to attack this here. I guess if you were the PGA Tour commissioner, Mark Hubbard was the commissioner, what would you implement or change now to continue improving the product for fans and players?
hmm. Oh, so just like on our side, not,
Yep.
against Live,
Yep.
because I think if anything, your question just raises a good point in terms of what our focus has been. It's been a lot of us versus them instead of us just trying to
Yeah.
build the best product. I
Yep.
think, I mean, I get it's tough because I don't know. I'm not I'm not privy to all the information. I just don't know how much we control we have over this, but man, I feel like the coverage could get a lot better.
Oh,
Like it's just,
hallelujah. Yeah.
just little things like
Yeah.
Friday being, like us presenting it as cut day and having
Yes.
cut cams and stuff like that. Statistical data and stuff that we have in the moment, like, why aren't stats popping up on the screen like, about our, make percentage on a
Yeah.
putt or, what club we're hitting. Like we have that information all in the moment. We got caddies signaling to the media guys, all that data. Like, oh, you hear the announcer, oh, he hasn't three putted and what like we, put that stuff up on the screen and stuff. But yeah, I
Yep.
mean, I think Max has talked about it before, but just having each day be something presented something different. So, have a Thursday where you're following the guys who are playing well, and then some featured groups. Friday, the leaders plus cut cam is. I just don't understand how we don't have a cut cam. Like that's insane. Um, and then Saturday, why is Saturday, like we have college game day, PGA Tour moving day, like just so much
Mhm.
stuff like that where it's just missed opportunities of us, kind of
Mhm.
raising interest in a different way than just here's golf, here's the top five guys.
I mean, dude, that is great. You've got, obviously our most of our fan base would be DFS and betters, right? And so golf is one of the greatest sports to gamble on like that because you get so much bang for your buck. It's a 4-day event. It's not a Sunday 1 o'clock slate or whatever. And there's a sweat within the sweat. There's always the Friday. You got to get through the Friday cut sweat first. Whether it's your guys in your lineup needing to make the weekend, or obviously if you have an outright or a top 20 or a top 40, if they don't make the cut, that bet is done. So there's always that Friday cut sweat. And that's our guys are constantly, I mean, our listeners are probably on their phone every Friday with all their starred guys sweating it out. And it would be awesome if at least some line of coverage on tour would lean into that. And I couldn't agree more. And you're one of the first players I've actually heard talk about it that way. But like today's a great example. I mean, we're recording this first round of the CJ Cup. You got the strongest field of the fall, including 15 of the top 20. We can only watch 3 hours of coverage today. That's it.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
mean, it was Sam was bitching about it in Tokyo. The scheduled times, and then like one day we played too fast, and so they just had like 35 minutes on the back end where they just sat there and talked when they missed the
yeah,
coverage on the front end.
yeah.
Um, and it's so interesting because I would say, our biggest asset as a sport is that I think golf is the most approachable. I don't think, you or me could ever even fathom what it's like to catch a touchdown pass in the NFL.
Right.
Those guys are so big and athletic, like there's just no way. But like if you've got a 5 footer for, $20 against your buddy, like
Yeah.
you understand what it means to feel pressure and nerves over that putt. Like it's
Yep.
it's a very unique sport in that way. And obviously, it's very different because see the guys on Twitter like, oh, I'm a scratch golfer at my club. I could play on the PGA Tour. And you're like, no, you're an idiot.
Okay.
But at the same time, like, we are the most approachable, and I feel like we talk about that a lot, but then we don't ever do anything, you
Yeah.
know, to kind of, expose that. Like guys want to see the other side of golf, not just the top 10 guys who are flying on private jets and driving Bentleys. Like that's
Yeah.
something that we have that's very different from other sports. Like
Yeah.
my life isn't glamorous and there's been some kind of small murmuring of things, different programs and stuff, but it's like do that on the coverage. Like
Yeah.
tell I've got I might not have a putt for the win on 18, but I've got a putt for this much money. And if I miss it, like this is how much it's gonna cost. Like stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like this my livelihood. Like it there's so many ways that we could bring meaning to the telecast that we don't.
That's it. All right. This is probably a tough question, but I want to see if you can do it. Can you name two things that Liv is doing that you like?
Um I mean I do like the shorts thing. I think that's
Mhm.
that's an easy answer.
I was
And
wondering if
I
you'd say that.
honestly, I like. I guess this isn't super specific, but I like the format. I like the team event. I wish as a tour we would do more fun events, or just more different events. Maybe not fun
Mhm.
events because I don't necessarily love the fact that it's basically just an exhibition match for a bunch of money.
Right.
But I like I love the team event in New Orleans. I think everybody loves the match play, both fans and players. And I just wish we mixed it up a little bit. Like there's just so many tournaments and they're just all 72 hole, 18 a day events. Like, what if we did a 36 hole shootout where we played 9 a day or something like that, and you just guys see guys going for it. Whatever it may be,
Yeah.
I'd love to see like an LPGA crossover event. It's the same reason everybody loves the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup, just kind of different events. I think, our game when it was invented just had so many different fun formats, and now we've just kind of gone to that stroke. It can get monotonous.
Yep. All right. We'll switch off of that. Good job with those. That was good. Um, you talked about, so I'm pulling from another interview that you did. I think it was on the Subpar podcast. You talked about a no look putt. You were playing with Bryce Garnett. I love Bryce. Actually, yeah, actually, I got hammered at Kisner's foundation event one year and
Nice.
spilled a drink twice on Bryce Garnett that and he still
That was
forgave me.
it.
Very cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a great guy to do it too. He
He's a
he
good
won't
dude.
mind. He would. Yeah, he's one of the
Yes.
best.
So, but there was an aspect to it where you guys were playing shitty. I don't know if this was a Friday and you were like, you knew you were trunk slamming or whatever, and you made a bet on that last hole. And that's interesting to me. I mean, obviously we hear a lot about like Tuesday bets and stuff like that, but this is a betting show for the most part. So I'm very interested to know like how often does that happen? Any other interesting stories about that? Are there is that a more common thing than people realize on a late on a Friday with people who just know that they got 4 holes to play and they're 7 shots back?
I mean, I think it depends. It's mostly, yeah, just amongst friends.
Yeah.
I don't think it's overly common, but yeah, I mean, if you're not playing well, you might, or and you're playing with a buddy, you might go, okay, this back nine, we're gonna play, match play auto two downs or something like that, just to kind of motivate each of you. And who knows, maybe you go out and you shoot a 30 and you do make the cut. So there's definitely some of that. I think we did. Yeah, it was in DC. The weather was horrible. Every pin was back right, even though every hole was playing 80 yards longer because of the weather and wind, and it was just horrible.
Yeah.
That course is already insane. And so we were well out of the cut. And yeah, last hole, par three, number nine. I think we did $1,000 hole in ones. Man, did I flag mine, but it was short,
Did
like
you?
every other shot I hit that day. And then we got to the green and realized we were tied. So then we did, whatever birdies for whatever, and I just took mine and left that one short too. So
That's cool though. I love that. I love that. I love that you guys are trying to do that, make it competitive and try to motivate yourself. I get it.
Yeah, I
Um,
think there's a lot of that on Saturdays, I would say more than anything. You kind of make the cut on the number and you're going off with one of your
mm,
buddies, or early on Saturday, and you need to make a move and you say, okay, and God, it's amazing how much more you care about a $50 bet with your
yeah,
buddy than you should than you should. I mean, you're playing for millions of dollars and you're like, what gets you motivated is just beating the guy next to you. So
have you ever, like, thrown a bet out there in that scenario and somebody been like, "No, man, I'm not doing that. This is the 3rd round or the 2nd round," or you just know who to throw
no.
it out to and who not
Yeah,
to?
you just know how to throw it. Yeah, you know.
Um, alright, I know you've told this story on another podcast, and I told you I was gonna try not to repeat, but I
No,
want you
you're
to
good,
repeat
man.
the friend that you picked up on the course, I guess, I love Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn calls it a little animalia, you know. So there's a friend you picked up on the golf course at one point. You were kind of feeling down. Can you tell that story?
Yeah, our my freshman year of college at San Jose State at our conference championship, I was not having a great day. I was not having a good time. And there was a pretty big, probably like football sized turtle in the middle of the fairway on, I want to say about 5 or 6, and I was finishing on the back nine. So I carried him for the last like whatever 5 or 6 holes of the golf tournament. All the coaches still to this day call me Turtle Boy, which isn't awesome. And I finished by shooting 89, which
Sick.
actually I cap end 89. It's my first qualifying of the year. I shot 89, and my last round of conference, I
I
shot
heard that.
89 my freshman year. So solid freshman year
Wow, well, yeah,
for the
way to bookend the
for the
freshman year.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
So you carry the turtle around and, like, did you take him up on the greens and stuff with you? Or where you just
yeah.
set
I
him
would
down by the
just set him down next to my ball and then hit my shot and then pick him right back up. Guy was not happy, but I
That's
needed a
awesome.
friend.
Alright, we're boys with your guy, with your caddy, old Kyle
Yeah, yeah.
Peters, Peppers,
Peppers.
good dude. He got me a caddying gig that I totally regret doing this past year at Anwa. But he told me to ask you about making a par on a par 5 with 1 club. And it's a seemingly pretty difficult club to make a par on a par 5 with. Tell us about that.
Yeah, number 15 at the old Houston Open golf course, where I actually finished second. So I'm bummed that they
Which
moved that
course was that?
tournament. Now they call it Golf Club of Houston, but it used to be called Redstone.
Okay.
Number five's or number 15 is a super long par five, like I think close to 600. Usually plays a little into the wind. No chance I'm getting there.
Jeez.
And this was a year that I didn't finish second. I finished a millionth and was well outside the cut line with 5 to go or 4 to go. And I hit driver, and then I was like, okay, I'll get it up there as far as I can, and hit driver again, and got up to my ball about 4 yards short. And this was with my old dumb caddy Johan, who I was telling you
Johan.
about. And he was like, "You won't hit driver again." So I had 40 yards, putted it up there, rolled it. Pin was back right. I rolled it just barely off the green and was like, "Well, I've come this far. I might as well keep going." So putted it down to about 3 feet with my driver and made it for five with five drivers.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I've got a at my home club, we have a drivable par 4, and one time I hit driver and I hit it to, like, 10 feet, and
Nice.
I had, like, a 10-footer for eagle, and I was like, I got what if I hit my driver, and then I could say I made eagle on this hole with only a driver, and I
A
missed it, of course.
driver.
I did make the birdie, tap in birdie, but
It's
I
still
know you're a
that's
pretty
great.
good driver off the deck guy though too.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I didn't have a 3 wood in college that I liked, and my coach would have me do it kind of as like a drill. Got super
yeah.
good at it. I'm definitely not afraid to use it.
So who are you when you're out on the road? Like I know you're boys with Joel, and I think you're friends with a lot of guys because you're a funny guy, good guy to hang out with. Like who do you stay with out on the road? Like you guys get houses together or whatever. Who's that normal crew?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that, is dictated by which wives get along too.
Hmm.
We are traveling circus, and
Yeah,
we see our caddies and coaches and stuff a lot more than we do our families
yeah,
sometimes. So when our wives do travel, it's really fun to get houses. So we usually stay with the Damons, and then the Brems, Chelsea and Ryan
Yep.
Brem. He got his first win at Puerto Rico this year.
Yeah.
So that's usually kind of our crew. I hung out with Steven Yeager all last week, so that was a lot of fun. A lot of the Arizona crew, they've been trying to get me to move there, so that might be in the cards. But yeah, I mean, we try and get together with a lot of the people, and we have a really good group of couples, and like I said, the wives get along. I won't mention names, but I think really there's only been one time that my wives ever come to me and been like, "Oh, I met this person, like we should be best friends," and I was like, "Not happening." Um, so most of the time it works out.
Well, I didn't know if you were gonna, because I know Joel travels a lot with Lana, but I didn't know if there was any examples where the wives weren't there, and then I was gonna ask you, like, out of the crew, like, with the guys, who's the room mom, like, keeping everybody on time and making sure everybody brushes their teeth or makes their tea time, who snores the loudest, weirdest bedtime or morning routine, biggest diva, that kinda thing. So, I mean, if you got anything on any of those guys, that's cool. If not, we can move on.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely don't have a house mom. We need one. I would say it used to be my buddy Sebastian Kaplan. He had status with us a
Oh, I know.
couple years
Yeah.
ago. Yeah, yeah, he was
We've had
probably the
him on the
most
show before. Good guy.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, Seabass is great.
Mhm.
He's still got some Corn Ferry status. I don't know if he's going to use it because he's doing really well for himself outside of golf, and golf
Oh,
is
good.
very frustrating. So I
Yeah.
completely understand. But yeah, he was kind of the one that he knew when to have fun, but he kept our shit together.
Mhm.
So we're missing him a lot for sure. But yeah, I mean, other than that, no one's too weird. I think we probably wouldn't stay with them if they were. I
Yeah.
think it's pretty well known that me and Joel need our wives there. I don't think we'd ever stay in a house together,
Yeah.
just the two of us without them, because I definitely don't think we'd make our tea times.
This is gonna be an unusual question you've probably not been asked before. Uh, is Joel's mother-in-law like a total babe?
um, I mean, yeah, super not my type. Um, but I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess she's younger, so I could see it. I could see
I
it.
asked that because, a couple years ago, we did this random show. It may have even been, I don't even know. We had Joel, Gino, and Fleener on all at the same time, and we were recording,
Amazing.
and it was a disaster. Everybody was drinking. I need to go back and find that show and pump it out again. Um, and Joel, I guess they were at Joel and Lana's house, and Lana's mom was there. And Joel, we were talking and we heard somebody in the background. We were like, "Who's that?" And Joel's like, "Oh, that's my hot mother-in-law." And we were like, "What?" And then we heard all the girls laughing. We were like, "Wow." And Fleener's cracking up. Gino's like, "Are you kidding me?" He was like, "Dude, she's hot." He was like, I said, "Bring her on." And she like came on the mic for a minute. We talked to her for a second. It was hilarious. So
That's
I
incredible.
anyway,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I mean, that's a good thing. I would hope that. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. You want your
she looks
mother-in-law.
like Lana. Yeah, exactly.
100%. Yeah, you want that.
Yeah.
You talked about Seabass doing well outside of golf. Like, if you weren't playing professional golf, what do you think you'd be doing? Would you be podcasting with your brother? What would you be doing?
Oh man. Yeah,
Running the Broncos
I'd
front
definitely be
office?
going to oh, I wish. I'd definitely be going to my brother for a job. He's a successful one out of us. So yeah, no, I'm not sure, man. I think the only thing I know is that it would be something outside of golf for
Yeah.
sure. I definitely I could never do like the club pro thing. Um,
No, God, no.
and just I think in general, it's probably just part of my competitive nature. Like if if I did something at a very high level, and now I don't feel like I can do it at that level anymore, I don't want anything to do with it.
So you
Play
wouldn't do, like, the
basketball.
golf media thing or any of that?
No, no, I don't think. I think I would just want to do something in a
Yeah.
completely different space, not around golf. I think I would just kind of want to get away from it completely. So,
Hey, man, all everybody's buying a pickleball team now. You could do that.
whew, yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, we love to travel so much,
Nice.
and go to different places. I think it'd be something with that, or even if we found a place that we really liked. Like I always joke that if the world was going to absolute shit, I would just be, we'd just go to Bora Bora and open up a bar there or something like that on
Yeah,
the beach and get somewhere really secluded. But I know I joke about it, but honestly, that life sounds
yep,
pretty good. I think we
yeah,
could be really happy working at, like a Four Seasons resort or something like that, just even at the
yeah.
reception desk and then just hanging out on the beach at night. So
What's
I'm
I
pretty,
I heard you say that on the Subpar show too, like, but you didn't, what's, like, Mark Hubbard's go-to cocktail? Like, if you're hosting a
ooh,
party and the guests are like, "Hey, give me whatever the house cocktail is," what is it?
man, I would say I'm a very seasonal drinker.
Yep,
Um, So, this time of year it's starting to get cold. So I'm gonna switch to whiskey pretty soon.
yep.
During the summer, I love a good spicy margarita. Even throwing some mezcal there, kind of the spice and the
Mm.
smoke that fires me up. And then, for whatever reason, I went through a big martini kick like the last year and a half.
Isn't it
Gin
funny how it
martini,
changes, like, as you age?
yeah.
It's happened to me too. I've, like, gone through these evolutions of it's weird.
Yeah, if you had told me I was drinking gin 5 years ago, I would have laughed in
Yes!
your face.
That
I'm
just
like,
happened to me. Yeah.
what is happening?
Yeah, that ju I just
So
I'm currently in the gin, like, "Well, how did we get here?" phase.
totally, I am too. I don't know what happened. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna switch to some whiskeys. I love a good old fashioned.
Yeah,
Um, at this time of year,
love it. Um,
trying to find the best one. And yeah, maybe like a hot toddy after skiing.
mm, that sounds great. What about, alright, so I mentioned Kyle, your caddy. You guys haven't been together that long, but has he screwed up really bad yet? Like, can you tell on him about anything? Like, what's his biggest screw up? I mean, I know he's good, but
No,
he
he's
has
the ultimate professional. I wish I was as switched on as he is. He's never gotten me a bad number.
that's good.
I mean, obviously, like we have our days where, the same way I'm not hitting the ball well, like he might not be reading the greens well,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
I'm just seeing him better or whatever. But for the most part, like he's always on. The amount of work he does ahead of time
yeah.
is incredible. Like he's a big stats guy, so he's always bringing me new stuff and telling me which courses to play. And no, he's switched on all the time. So as much as I would love to air him out, I really do have nothing. I will say, worst caddy. You talked about my brother. Worst caddy fail ever. He caddied for me in Columbus one year at one of the Corn Ferry Tour finals, and on 11 he stepped through a walking bridge, just went right through it. Tipped my bag over, and my 9 iron fell out, and we didn't figure it out for like a hole and a half. And
Oh my
then
gosh.
the next day, we were reading the yardage books were shit. They might as well have been drawn in crayon, but it was basically like this, and we were getting the yardage, but we were holding it like this, and so we got the yardage from the front, but we did it off the back number. So I
Sick.
flagged an 8 iron 50 yards over the green. So
That's awesome.
so that's that was the last time he caddied for me.
Uh, has Peppers ever, like, or have you been with him long enough, and yeah, he's a professional, blah, blah, blah. Have you been with him long enough that, like, there's something about him that irritates you, like, something he does, like, little things? You know how, like, I mean, you're married, like, so you understand, like, even your wife does a little shit that annoys you, and it's, like, petty, but there's some I would imagine there's gotta be something like that with Peppers.
Um, I mean, I would honestly say like there are some times where I'm just like I don't ask a lot of people and of my caddy, and there's like times where I'm just like, dude, go home, like go what like we're in New Orleans. I'm
Is
not.
he a stage
You
5
don't need to.
clinger?
It's more just like he's so professional, and I don't know if it's just from past guys he's worked with, like asking a lot.
Yeah,
But it's like, we're in New Orleans at the team event, like, go take your fiance and go, like,
yeah,
stay somewhere nice and have a nice dinner. Like, you don't need to be here after our practice round to watch me hit putts for an hour. Like, get balls out of the hole. Like, I can do it. Like, get out of
yeah,
here. Go have some fun. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm constantly like, and I mean, it's great. Like it's a double-edged sword because I don't want him to start getting complacent and lazy. But there's so many times where I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna go hit some balls. Like, if you want to come, you can, but you super don't need to. And he always comes. And I'm like, all right, great, man. If that's like, I think he just honestly loves caddying that much.
yeah,
Like, he really
yeah,
does. He really does have a passion for it. But I'm just like, dude, get out here. Go have fun in whatever city, go explore, whatever, do your thing.
He's
Like,
that
I'll be
loyal
alright.
that loyal Labrador, man. He's just gonna stay right there. He's not he
Yeah.
goes to bed when you go to bed. He
No,
leaves when you
seriously, yeah, he's on it.
leave. So he's getting married here pretty soon, right?
Yep, December 17th. I'm hoping I can be there. I got baby number 2 December 5th.
Oh,
I think it's gonna come
congratulations.
earlier. Thanks. Yeah, thank you. I think it's gonna come earlier, hopefully. So I would feel pretty shitty about my fatherhood and being a
Yeah, yeah,
husband leaving 12 days after, but,
yeah.
if I can get, 2.5 weeks in there, I might pop over for a
Nice.
day. So I'm
Nice.
excited about it.
That's awesome. All right, so I ask everybody this question, and, I would assume you have something. We are huge fans of one guy on the PGA Tour, and we feel like he's the most electric human on tour that not enough people know about. So we feel it's our duty to kind of create that mysticism around him, right? But you are also a pretty electric guy yourself. But who's more electric, you or Siwoo Kim?
Oh, man. I
And
I
the
might honestly
follow-up
say
question is always, do you have any Siwoo Kim stories?
it's not really any stories. He just, like I mean, he just always has these, like, one-liners, like,
Yes.
and it's, like,
Yes.
so like, you see him and, like, the stuff that comes out of his mouth versus the way he, like, acts, and even, like, his voice is so, like, soft and innocent,
Yeah.
and then he, like, says shit, and you're just like, "Do you like, is there someone else in your body?" Like, it's like he's possessed or something. Like,
Yes.
who is saying that? Because I know it's not you. So, yeah, I mean, I gotta go with Siwu, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. So do you
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
any
you do.
do you remember any of the one-liners? Matt Naismith, when I asked him this question, he rattled off 4 different one-liners that were all amazing, like,
Yeah.
amazing. Next time you see Naismith, have you heard him tell the story about, "I players champ, bro?"
No,
And see
no.
you gotta ask about that, dude.
I should have. We just played together last week. Yeah,
Yeah,
I will ask him. No, I
but
don't remember off
it's
any
all
off the top of my
one-liners.
head, but it's
Alright,
just
well,
like he's just one of those guys you see in the locker room and you just wanna go ask him any question because you know the
yeah,
response you're gonna get is just
yeah. Well, next time you encounter one, just can you message
I'll
me and just
text
let me
it
know?
yeah, I'll text you. Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
okay. Um, all right, a couple more, quick ones, we'll get out of here, I guess. Have you ever been in a fight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, probably the worst one was with one of my teammates in college. There's this guy on our team, I won't name any names, but he was one of those guys that just antagonized everybody and then kind of played the like, woe is me, why doesn't anybody like me card? And it's like you bring this all on yourself. I will say like that was early on and then I think he might have gotten humbled a little bit, but now I'd say he's a guy that I'd definitely go grab a beer with, and he's a cool guy. But at the time, like our freshman and sophomore year, man, he just pissed everybody off. And just one day he came over, we were kind of having a little party, and we didn't tell him, and he just randomly showed up, and we like locked the door.
Oh gosh.
And then he, like, somehow got in the house and threw a full beer at, the guy who he thought had locked the door, who was another freshman who was our number 2 player, so and I just, like, lost my mind and just threw, like, 5 or 6 haymakers. We, like, were we went I think at one point we, like, went through one of our windows, it was bad.
Damn, it's a
But
good
yeah,
one.
since then, we've made up through that, but yeah, it's been a while, but I
That's
think that was probably the last one.
that's a good
Honestly,
one.
I know that was the last one because my wife is, like, super anti-confrontational,
Mm,
and we were dating at the time, and I remember seeing her later that night at a different party, and she, like, wouldn't even look at me.
mm,
She's like,
mm.
"Okay, well, my fighting days are over."
Gotta hang the gloves up, buddy.
Yeah,
Um, do you still roll in that Honda CR-V, or is that thing gone?
that thing is gone.
Okay.
I just got a new Bronco, one of the new ones. I had to
Yeah.
wait, over a year for it,
Did you get,
but
like, the
actually
trail package one? That seems like a very Colorado thing.
I got yeah, I mean, I got the Outer Banks, but I mean, I got it with
Yeah.
pretty much all the bells and whistles. It's pretty sweet. I love it. I'm glad I waited for it. I dare say it was worth the wait. But yeah, the CRV I retired in I guess last August. I
Okay.
gave it to my little brother, who had just turned 16. So the CRV lives. It's
Oh,
still in the
good.
family. It's just not with me. But yeah, I gave it to him in August, thinking, oh, I'll get my Bronco in like December, and then a year later, I was carless. So
Yeah, that thing took a
I
while,
went
huh?
from the worst car to no car for like a year. So
Ugh. Are you, so you're sponsored by MGM. Are you, kind of a gambler at all? Like, when you're in a legal gambling state on tour or you're in Vegas, do you like doing any of that?
bad, just the worst blackjack player, poker player. I think I'd be all right at sports gambling. I have someone in my
Basketball,
family
right?
who sort of used to be a bookie before uh, being a bookie was legal.
Mhm.
So that I kind of just from watching the degenerates that he dealt with, I kind of was like, I have a lot of vices. I don't need all of them, so maybe I should just not gamble. Um, but yeah, I mean, and our MG, most of all, our MGM credit doesn't cover gambling, only room, board,
Yeah.
and drink. So if I could use that credit, I mean, trust me, we would be using it. But no,
What, what about, like, obviously, you can't do this, but we do it. We try to do it every week. It's hard as hell, like handicapping a golf tournament, right? If you were to try to do that, how would you go about it? Like, what would be your thought or your strategy on it?
handicapping a golf tournament. Oh man, yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. Um, I think I don't know. I've always wanted one throw around. I think that would be pretty fun. I'm pretty good at throwing the
Okay,
ball.
I didn't see that one.
Um, no,
You guys
yeah,
can't throw one, so I can't model that.
yeah, no, yeah, no, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know about that one. Like I said, I'm not a big gambler, so
Yeah, okay. What about, all right, what's your favorite funny movie?
favorite funny movie. Wow. Um,
If you had
God,
one
there's so many
one
good
funny movie
ones.
you that was the only one you could watch the rest of your life, what would it be?
I freaking love Wedding Crashers, man.
Yeah,
I think I think it'd be a tough tie between Wedding Crashers and Old School. Those two are just classic bad mood.
yeah,
Ones that I can just quote in my head over and over again. And yeah, I think Vince Vaughn in Wedding Crashers is just
yeah.
unstoppable.
Mine have you ever seen The Other Guys?
Yeah, the other guys is
The Other
I
Guys is
I
up
would
there
say the
for me.
other guys is probably the most underrated.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable. Talk
that's my
about like
that's my
I feel like there's a lot of I can see that because I feel like there's a lot of like Siwoo one-liners in there. Just
Yeah.
like random shit that happens, like even like just like little moments where they're about to like trank Will Ferrell and since all the girls love him, that like the bad girl is
Yes.
just like good night my little butterfly or just something like
Yes.
that as she like shoots him and just like random shit where you're just like
I could
what
totally
is
see
happening.
Siwoo talking to his wife the way Will talks to Eva Mendes that whole
One
movie. Could you see that?
one
Like,
hundred percent. Oh
uh,
my god, that's amazing.
I never thought about it
Siwoo,
until
I gotta get Siwoo to do like a cameo for you where he goes,
yes! He goes,
Siwoo don't play that shit.
what is it? Uh, "Siwoo's bitches better be wearing
Better
Jimmies."
wear
I need that.
Jimmy's.
I need that. I need that right now. God, that's
Oh,
amazing. We've actually paid for a couple Siwoo cameos, so, uh,
oh,
those are
yes.
amazing.
Has Streelman ever told you his?
No, and I had Strowman
S-
on. I don't know that I
So
asked Strowman the Siwoo stories. I don't think I
yeah,
asked.
so I don't know the exact detail. Like in a prank war with one of his buddies, and his buddy got Siwoo to do a cameo for Streelman, but didn't tell him it was like Kevin Streelman. And so the
Yeah.
whole video, he's like calling him Steels instead of Streels, and like he's just like Steels, like you can't give up. Don't quit golf. Don't quit golf. You have to keep playing. It just like goes on. I guess his buddy had said that like
Uh,
Streelman was on edge, like ready to quit. But
what's
it's
great
so good. I would love to see
what's great is, like, the couple that we've done with him, he just reads straight out of the
it.
script, and there is 0 inflection on anything, and so it's just like he just reads in it's just, like, one stream thought, no, like So you could be like having him roast somebody, and it's just like blah 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 blah. You know,
Yeah,
it's hilarious. God
that's
dang! But I did
amazing.
just think about Siwoo being the Will Ferrell character in the other guys, or
That's
like,
pretty solid.
yeah, the sound of your piss hitting the urinal. It sounds feminine. I would love to hear Siwoo say that. Okay. I think I'm about done. I guess we've been trying to do this with some guys. So the last thing I'll ask you, I don't know if you saw it in the email, but the two truths and one lie. Did you prepare for that? And now
Yeah.
this is going to be hard for you because you've done some things and said some things on podcasts. So, and I actually have a perfect record with this so far in guessing the lie. So we'll
Okay.
see if you can stump me. We'll get out of here with this.
All right. Two truths and a lie.
Mhm.
All right. First one. I led the state of Colorado in three-pointers made my senior year of high school.
Mm, I knew you were a
Second
baller.
one. That same year, I broke both my arms skiing and had full casts on both for my senior picture.
Oh my god.
And third, I have a younger brother and an older brother who are 30 years apart.
Well, you just said the younger brother who just turned 16 last year. Your older brother is Nate, right?
Hmm.
Is he 46? 47? Um, led the state of Colorado in three-pointers. I know you had some college looks. The one about the senior picture is so outrageous that one it makes me think that it's true. But if there's anybody that could come up with one outrageous enough that was a lie, it would be you. I'm gonna say the three-pointer thing is the lie.
You were so close. You were onto it. It is so outrageous that
Yeah.
it's not true. No,
Which one's not
no,
true?
the
The
skiing
the
one.
ah,
I've actually never broken a Bone. Come
you
on,
made
man.
that up?
I don't fall when I'm skiing. Give
You
me
made
that.
that whole thing up?
Yeah.
God. Yeah, but when you're a senior, yeah, dude, first of all, the only thing I would rather do than play golf is snow ski, okay? And I'm in
Okay.
Augusta, so I've only been to Colorado one time, and my wife surprised me with it on my 30th birthday. It was the greatest birthday I've ever had. I loved it. But when you're 18, even if you're a
Fair.
good skier, you're trying dumb shit on the, you're
That's yeah. I,
so
yeah,
you're
definitely fair.
you're probably trying a lot less dumb shit now at 33 or 34 with a couple kids now, or second one on the way.
Yeah, I've
But
I've actually been getting a lot of shit from my Colorado friends because the tour, you know how the tour takes some stuff and just runs with it.
yeah.
Um, and so, I'm a good skier, but like compared to a lot of my I'm like the 30th best skier out
Yeah,
of the people I know in Colorado, but
yeah.
compared to the guys on tour, might be the best. So
The tour's
it's
like,
all
Mark
relative.
Hubbard's forfeiting his Olympics career to play
Yeah,
golf.
exactly. And my Colorado friends were like, "You're not that good, bro."
That's funny. So dang, dude, three-point, do you still have that record?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't
You gotta
know.
look that up, dude.
Probably not. Probably not. But yeah,
My
made the
12
most in a season. So
how many?
also don't know.
Come on, man. Um,
That was
my
a lot.
12-year-old
I
my
could struggle.
12-year-old's the athlete in my family, and he's all golf and basketball, and he's a little shooting guard and golf,
That's
so
awesome.
he's in middle
Well,
school
so
doing
yeah, and I mean, like we talked about, like basketball was my life. It was, I thought I was going to be in the NBA for a long time, and then
yeah,
realized I was
you
super
stopped
not going
early.
to be in the NBA. So but that's one of those things where honestly, I can't remember the last time I shot a basketball because it's, like I was saying with
Dang.
golf, like once I stopped being able to do something at a super high level, it just like didn't interest me
Yeah,
anymore. And I mean, even in college, like our basketball team was so bad, I couldn't even go watch the games. It would just make me upset and make me miss
mm,
it too much. So I just like kind of out on basketball. But yeah, that one was true. And then yeah, my younger brother's 17 and my older brother's 47. So
wow. That's kinda like my family. My sisters are I have 2 sisters, one's like 24 years older. So I get it,
wow.
I think I was an accident. I think that's what happened. But, here I am. Uh,
I think I was the only one on purpose. I think everybody else is here.
maybe when the golf career is over, you know what you should do? You should bring back the and one league. What
That
if
would be
Mark
fun.
Hubbard was running the newest and one?
Holy cow. Yeah, that would be fun. Another
There's a
super
guy.
underrated movie is Semi-Pro. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah. Fun fact, I caddied for Will Ferrell when he was filming that movie, and he had the
No
afro.
way.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
That's another story for another day, but, dude, this was great. Thank you for the time. Um, Thanks for putting the idea of Siwoo Kim being Will Ferrell and the other guys into my brain, because now I'm just every time I watch the movie, I'm just gonna think about it. Um, Thank you for that, and just hope you have a great year, man, and thanks for coming on. We'll catch up with you, on tour. We'll be at a couple stops, and would love to chat and, hang out with you and Peters one day maybe.